anonymous individual gave me access to a group chat called Beast Games 2024, which is a collection of a bunch of Beast Game contestants that played both in Vegas as well as Toronto.
We literally called 1,950 contestants of the 2,000. We couldn't get a hold of all 2,000. I couldn't find a single broken bone.
Torn meniscus and severe bruising on both knees, as well as a hand broken in 2 places during the briefcase challenge. This individual replied, "So I was talking to someone on Beast Games who broke their arm during the flag game."
I couldn't find a single broken bone.
Another example here is someone saying, "Currently at an urgent care getting an x-ray on my tibia and fibula from the trapdoor fall."
I couldn't find a single broken bone.
Now people were talking amongst each other about the seizures that had happened. Then, person responded saying, "I had one right after being eliminated. Never had one before. The producers wouldn't let my friend come with me to the hospital. It was a nightmare." This contestant commented, "And I got hurt on set when I dropped from the platform. They hurt my back really bad, but they took me to the hospital, and yes, they paid for everything."
I couldn't find a single broken bone.
Naughty Jimmy, lying to your fans. Hey everyone, welcome back. It's been quite a while since I last covered a Mr. Beast video, and to be honest, I really miss it because those were unironically the most interesting stories. It was actually like greater than anything else out at the time. Now today, in the great year of 2025, we're covering him again because the commentary channel going by the name of Quinfio, if I'm getting it right, just released a video where he got his hands on some messages from an official WhatsApp group chat with about 300 contestants that were in the Beast Games, and there was child porn in it. No, that wasn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I just thought that would be really fucking funny. I'm sorry. What he actually went over was a couple of stuff that sounded like it was conflicting with what Jimmy said previously about the show, where he claimed that there were no broken bones in his interview with Umperville. Meanwhile, in the messages, there were mentions of, of a couple of small broken bones. Nothing severe from what I can tell, but as we'll see in a second, it'll make you wonder if he was being entirely honest about how he heard nothing about broken bones. Okay, so here's a video from Quinfio himself, and he opened, it's a very long video, an hour long, but I want to mainly cover, the injuries that were mentioned, and that sound pretty worrying. If Jimmy really did talk to his production crew, and they heard nothing about broken bones, it'll make you wonder, well, what about this stuff? But it sounds pretty bad. And the first one I picked up on was this one where some poor bastard had a torn meniscus, is how you pronounce it, whatever, and also severe bruising on both knees, as well as a broken hand when he was doing a briefcase challenge. That sounds fucking worrying, actually. Jesus. And then meanwhile, some other person broke their arm during a flag challenge. Pretty bad shit. I mean, I'm not surprised that this stuff happens, because surprise, is a game show challenge, like a game show. But the fact that he said, there were no broken bones, you're like, I feel like a broken arm would be brought up, as an injury. Yeah, so here you go. So I was talking to someone on Beast Games who broke their arm during the flag game, and he said they would cover all expenses if he showed proof of damage. He also as well, from what I can tell, most people that got injured, all they had to do to get reimbursed by the production crew was, get like an x-ray, some proof of the injury, and send it over. That's it. I'll go more into detail about that later. But yeah, what are the other injuries that he picked up on? Oh yeah, there were also 2 others that weren't, they're pretty bad. I'll go over them. There was one person that fell through the trapdoors, and they hit the head, and it caused a seizure. I'm not sure how severe, that was just a mention of it. They had no history before, that kind of stuff, and just, getting hit in the head was enough to cause it. That sounds pretty bad. And then you also have this person saying, "I got hurt on set when I dropped from the platform. They hurt my back really bad, but they took me to the hospital, and yes, they paid for everything."
Another example here is someone saying, "Currently at an urgent care getting an x-ray on my tibia and fibula from the trapdoor fall." And then, some people like, holy cow, like you actually fell through a trapdoor. This is very early on in recording and filming. And they finish it up with an update that there was just a muscle tear and bone bruise and no breaks, thankfully.
So you have those 2 things, and they're pretty bad as well, I have to repeat that. But I won't put them in the same band as the first 2, because I'm not really sure if they count as like broken bones. So I'm not sure if you would bring up like a seizure or a broken back in the question of, broken bones during the games. I'm not sure about that. But anyway, let me pull up the actual clip of what he said about he called most of the people, and they said nothing at all.
That was just a flat out lie. We did use unions, and like that there are dozens of broken bones, and which is like crazy to think that I'd be like, oh, 10 people broke their bones. Let's keep filming. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't even make sense. After like that claim came out, like we literally called 1,950 contestants of the 2,000. We couldn't get a hold of all 2,000. I couldn't find a single broken bone. Yeah,
that's weird. He didn't call everyone. Like he almost did, basically calling 1,900 people. That's essentially everyone. And he just said right there was not a single broken bone. Yeah, you know, do I think Quinfield made the right title saying Mr. Beast lied about the Beast Games, you know, chat leaks? Yeah, I think he's right, because it's clearly evident 2 people, you know, had injuries that I would say count as broken bones, and some of them, I'm not sure the first guy got reimbursed, but I think the second guy did. So clearly the production crew acknowledged it. And by the way, I will say now, I don't want to slander Beast Games as not paying anybody, because this person did say that, you know, they had a severe bruising on both knees and they went to a hospital. And meanwhile, I'm gonna say that, you know, after this happened, about 3 weeks after, because of this comment, you know, being limping badly, they still hadn't received payment from them. Now, I think, you know, at most, you know, it just took a while. I'm not sure if these messages are like from recent, like from, you know, the present, but I would say I'm not gonna slander them as being like, oh, they're not paying them at all. I think they did at some point. We don't really know just yet, but like, you know, maybe it just took a while, or there was one message or email that was unresponded to, or, you know, took a while to get to, and that's it. I don't think, you know, they're withholding payment from people that got severely fucked over. I don't think that's the case, and, you know, we don't have proof just yet to make that claim. So my final thoughts is that, yeah, I think Jimmy fucked up. I think he should have been more honest. You know, it probably wouldn't have helped at the time if he said right then and there in the interview, yeah, there were a couple of broken bones. But now, you know, it only makes it look worse now, and, you know, in the present, after so much time, where, yeah, you know, there were some people that had, you know, broken bones, and he didn't mention them. But I don't want to say that some worse stuff happened, or that the people in the lawsuit, if you remember, you know, if that stuff really did happen to them. Because I don't want to, like, you know, relitigate the drama all over again. Because unless some, you know, in the group chat said so, that they had like a really bad injury, unpaid for, then I'm not going to make that claim. And also, from what I could see as well, most of the people there in the group chat, they seemed very comfortable, you know, to talk about the actual true source about the experience. Quinfield did make a good point that these people are under NDA, so, you know, they are wary of that, but it's not the main reason why they're not speaking out about it. Because in reality, it did seem like, you know, most of them had a good experience. That's it. If they really were worried about the NDA, you know, keeping them quiet, they would report up more and more. But that's really not the case. Like, I barely saw it myself. I think if someone was, you know, really worried about it, they'd be like, oh my god, I got fucked over so bad, but I can't speak out about it because of the goddamn NDA. Like, you know, I didn't see that at all. So that was the main part of Quiffy's video, and now I want to go over the funnier parts, because this was unbeknownst to me. Apparently there were people that were fucking in the games in the stadium somehow. Apparently people got eliminated because they were doing it in the bathroom or the stadium. You know how there was a gender neutral bathroom? I guess bro had her pinned up on the sink and was going to Pound Town. Okay, well, you know, there might have been, maybe she had him pinned to the sink. I don't know. You can't say that just yet. That's fucking crazy. There might have been mentions of that before, and, you know, it went over my head. But the fact that I'm seeing contestants, you know, actually talk about it, fuck. I don't think it's, you know, like a severely bad saying, you know, like, oh my god, people were fucking. Like, I'm like a Protestant, you know, big guy. But that's just funny that it happened there in the stadium. That's insane. Oh, that's well, bro, it's so funny. People, like, in this group chat, they fucking hate Rosanna. The people that Rosanna was trying to defend herself, even they're like, nah, don't let Rosanna hear about that, and they're laughing. Nobody, you know, was willing to defend this bitch. They all hated her. Which also, by the way, this message brings me to my other point. I think there were some parts I learned about in this video that made me realize there were some flaws with the show, but I think, you know, there's two categories. One, where the production crew had nothing, you know, they had nothing in the power to fix it, and other ones where I'm like, you should probably, you know, not done that at all. The first one I saw was this one. Bro, mad people got stung, and that's in reference to how there were hornets, like wasps, at the accommodation they had at the stadium about the show. That sounds pretty bad, but then I realized as well, I think whenever you make accommodation or like housing for contestants, you make it very quickly. And also, if you're doing in Vegas, yeah, you know, God knows how fucking savage the book life is in there. So they get a bit out of hand. It does say here that they had traps for that. But even then, I imagine there were a couple that made the living experience a bit uncomfortable and worrying. The other part that I feel bad for contestants for, but I'm like, could you really have prevented that? Was like how some people, they had like the skin, break out in rashes, or they had like acne for whatever. Yeah, it says right here, the showers made my face break out bad, rose out quick. Thankfully, they did have medics who had cream to apply to her face. I mean, like, unless it was like acidic water, I just feel like Vegas had like awful water quality, and that's it. And also, some people had like some allergies to the pillows, the blankets they had. I mean, I feel bad for them if that did happen. But I think it's one of those 1 in a million chance that happens, because like, when have you heard of someone having an allergic reaction to blankets and pillows? Like, what? And so the last thing that I think wasn't the entire fault of the production crew or of the show was the rope injuries. This part, I will say right now, this is the one section that we have no idea if it's true or not. In summary, there was one game where a couple of teams had to pull a boulder, like a huge one, with thick rope, and apparently there were 3 ruined victims, one in red team, one in yellow team, and somebody else. 2 of them had the rope somehow wrap around their neck, and they didn't choke out and die. We would hear about that, but they got injured from it. One other person, that was a woman, had the rope wrap around the stomach, and they got hurt from it. The only way we know about this, like mentioned in the group chats, was just secondhand information, and that's it. The person that heard about the stomach part, the woman, was a friend of her, but that's it. There was no mention of that happening to somebody themselves, just that. They heard about it, but nothing much, just that. I mean, to be fair, there was like an explanation of how it happened, saying, yeah, she had gone down and lots of people were letting go of the rope, but some people from the back were still pulling, so it just became this loop right over her head, essentially. So I guess that's the story. But again, even then, it's just rumors, nothing much. I'm not gonna deny, that never happened, but it's one of those things where we have to debate it from both possibilities. If it did happen, that's fucked, but I don't think there's much that a crew could do to prevent it, because oh my god, they have ropes on set. That's a very dangerous risk, because it could go around the neck. I don't know. It's like one of those things, if you don't allow rope, don't allow cables, all that stuff, a very minor thing that could be dangerous, but not, like a huge fucking hazard. That's it. But even if it did happen, I'm entirely confident that there would be crew on set to run in and help them. That's it. I don't think they'll be standing by with popcorn, eating it, just watching them fucking choke out and die. I don't think so. But again, I really want to clarify that this section, the rope injuries, is so messy, because Quinn Fuel had a video much long ago where some of the guy was a contestant, and he said that the rope stuff, the rumors, was complete bullshit. So there's not a clear consensus of if this is true or not. It's just rumors. So I'm not gonna claim that a crew was dangerous or whatever for having for something happening that we don't even know is true or not. Okay, for a second, I want to show this part because it's so funny how this guy's so dismissive of it. Nah, I mean even me myself, I don't believe it, but I'm not gonna be quick to dismiss it entirely. This guy on the other hand, I think his name was Mandy, whatever. He's like, no, it didn't happen at all.
Thing down here that I want to show you. He says, and no one was strangled in a rope, lol. We had to pull it, not tie it around ourselves, dude. Rose was part of the red team who got eliminated first round, so we simply used it as an excuse to try and get a lawsuit towards Mr. Beast, since when in reality, no one was strangled at all. There was nothing negative to say other than the food being gross, which yeah, it was the only negative thing that happened there, but other than that, they're obviously not going to let you slander them in their own show, because after all, you chose to be there. They keep going, but I replied to them because this is when I had just been starting to read these messages and go over, what I had found. And I said, I have a message confirming a different contestant at the Vegas Games spoke with the girl who was choked by the rope. I'll show it in a future video to corroborate this, but I'm just confused why you'd confidently say that it didn't happen. They replied, well, if it did happen, then it was her own fault since we're supposed to pull the rope, so I have no idea how she got in that situation.
That's so funny how he's so confident. But either way, I think the explanation for how it could have happened makes sense. But once again, nobody in the group chat at all was being like, yeah, it happened to me. I'm telling the truth. So, that's probably the one tacky part that, I'm not entirely sure to say it's false or not. not. But even then, I wouldn't consider it to be the fault of the production crew, because how can you stop people from getting into a dog pile and having the rope, a really thick rope, go around someone's neck? It feels like, you know, a 1 in a million chance of that happening. Okay, so that's the parts that they had no control over, but now for the parts that they did have control over and they fucked it up majorly, in my opinion, was the fucking trapdoors. Because if you remember before, the person that had the seizure and the person that had the back broken and hospitalized, they were all from the trapdoor. And I remember when I watched the clip from the show, the first episode, I was like, how the fuck is that possible? It feels like such a massive risk to have that on set, where, I mean, I'm not sure like how deep it went, but the idea of having a platform that falls onto you just seems like too much of a risk. Why the fuck would you include that? So if the two things I would give Jimmy or the show shit for would be that first part about lying, that there were no broken bones, and also that fucking idiotic gimmick of having platform doors that fall onto you. That was so clearly, like, you know, liable for making someone injured. Why would you include that? And also, another great thing about this video is that the fucking worm, Jake Weddle, came to drop a comment. You're telling me that Jimmy lied? This worthless fucking scumbag. I mean, this is the one time, like, you know, he's not making anything massive, you know, like not making a huge claim, but like, you know, this drama is so old that, you know, he's commenting on a video, like talking about it. Get a fucking life, dude. Like, you know, go carry on your career being a failed comedian. Do that instead. What are you doing here? I mean, it wasn't that bad of an interaction. Like, just Quinfio saying yeah and just saying wild. Thank you, you know, you're really adding a lot to this conversation. God bless you. Okay, that's enough. But overall, I think it was a good thing that Quinfio came out to clarify some things that happened, because throughout the entire duration of this drama, people like Dogpack and Rosanna never cared about, you know, truth or honesty. So it's good that we also uncover some things on Jimmy's side, or, you know, of the Mr. Beast legacy, just so that this story is actually documented in a good, proper way that should be. Now, we'll say that there might be a small possibility that Jimmy will respond to this, but at most, I feel like he would just say, yeah, sorry, I was trying to broadly deny the big accusations, but, you know, I should have clarified the small events that we did try to fix. Because honestly, even if you lied at this part, I don't think that breaks the door for anything to be true about what happened. It may be an indication, but it's just that, an indication, not entirely fact. Now, even though there were just 300 people out of the 2,000 contestants in that group chat, I think if there were some worse injuries that happened, there would have been mentions in the group chat about it, because it is clear, you know, those people, they like to talk to each other about their experiences, including rumors of some bad stuff that happened, like the rope injuries. So this video, this story, might evolve, because I think it is hypocritical for Jimmy to make such a point that disinformation has been made by his detractors like Dogpack. Meanwhile, he himself was defending himself with disinformation. It's a tad bit ironic, no? Don't you think?